What's up, YouTube? It's Mr. Ferguson here once again. Thank you guys for coming back for another video here in Central North Carolina. It's my privilege and honor to be able to make these videos here for you in the winter. Thank you for the ones sticking around, watching these videos, giving it a thumbs up, trying to help us grow. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and hope that we can entertain you a little bit today with the topic that we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about something that I didn't do too quite well in 2021. And also something that I did do in 2021 that may be interesting to you, that may help you, may save you a little bit of money. So we'll talk about that. Thank you for tuning in today. Happy 2023. We feels like I've said that 1,000 times, but for those that are, maybe this is the first Mr. Ferguson video you've ever watched. When I always talk about topics like this, I like to mention I am just a DIY guy. I'm a do-it-yourself guy. I'm a YouTuber. I film my lawn. I never worked for a lawn care company. I never went to school for lawn care, for turf management or anything like that. I'm just your average Joe that has been able to go on YouTube, get a lawn care plan, begin to develop this beautiful lawn you see behind me that is dormant now in wintertime. And that's where I've gotten my education, through experience and through what I've learned on YouTube. So I like to make that. I'm not a professional. So please, before making any major decisions in your lawn, seek out other options and other recommendations before you do anything. I always like to make that point here on my channel. We make mistakes, and I don't want to lead anyone down a road that is inaccurate or not proper. So I always like to make that announcement every now and then for newcomers that may click on my videos. So with that being said, guys, I want to talk about what I did not so well in 2022. Excuse me if I said 2021, I apologize. In 2021, I was just thinking about this morning, said, hey, that might make a great video for somebody else. One thing that I did not do well in 2022, and these crows are, I don't know if y'all can hear it on the mic, these crows are just having a day. I think they flew away, so I apologize. One thing that I did in 2022 that was not very well, or I could have done better, was soil testing. I don't know what it is. Soil testing is not a difficult process if you're familiar with it. I have a probe down here in my shed, and it's very simple. You go around, if you're going to do a soil test on just your backyard, you would take soil samples in your backyard, remove the dirt, remove the rock, remove the roots, put it in a bag, mix it up, fill the cup of the soil test that you have. I'm thankful for RX Soil. They provided me with several boxes for free. So a shout out to RX Soil. I think Ryan Knorr on his website, I saw that he also sells those. They've been a great company. I had questions. They answered them quickly. They've been tremendous. So I do recommend RX Soil. I still have some of their soil tests, but even having the soil tests they gave me, and I didn't do a lot of soil tests in 2022. And I'm like, it's just a lazy thing. It's just a not giving it the effort I need to. And soil tests, to me, I know that they're very important. If you want to dial in getting your nutrients in your soil right, getting, you know, the best out of your lawn, soil test is like the cheat code to the test. You know what I mean? If you're unfamiliar with it, as I was saying, you take this probe and you just take different plugs, you mix it up in a bag, you're going to fill the cup, you send it off to the company, or sometimes in local areas they will do free soil tests in your local extension. I have one about 30 miles away that I've done once. It does take significantly longer to get the results back, but you can also buy these little kits online for $20 or $30 and send it off, and you as soon as they get it, you normally get results much quicker than my local extension. You normally get them in a week or a week and a half, and it's online, it's digital. They break down everything. Sometimes they break down nitrogen, sometimes they don't, but they give you a breakdown of the nutrients and the micronutrients and tell you what's in the soil sample that you submitted to them. It's not very difficult. It's just something you need to do. I failed to do that in 2022. I need to do it here soon, because we've talked about on the channel pH. Our pH level in our soil is extremely important. It does matter. If our soil gets too acidic or too alkaline, grass doesn't like that. Grass likes slightly, at least fescue, enjoys slightly acidic soil. So from 6 to 7 on the higher end, 6.5 and above, that's the happy range for fescue, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's where we want to keep it, and we use lime to kind of keep that at bay and adjust that. But the only way we know what our soil test is, or what our pH level is through a soil test or through a pH test, but also our nutrients. What is our potassium levels? That kind of determines, guys, what fert do I need to use? Because as a simple DIYer, I know many of you, like myself, just getting into this is like, well, I like this brand, it's cheaper. We go off price, we go off, well, this is cheaper than that, and it's fertilizer, like Milorganite, it's cheaper, let me just throw this down. But we don't realize, you know, are you putting too much potassium? Are we putting way too much no potassium? Are we putting too much phosphorus? Is my soil already rich with phosphorus where I don't need to do starter fert because my soil is already rich in phosphorus? So I don't need to do starter fert, you know, in the fall time. I can do without that. I can do a 2106. I need to increase my potassium applications because from my soil test, I'm lacking a lot of potassium. Man, I need to put some potassium in. I need to use fertilizers that will increase my potassium. Because we want to get in those levels that are optimal, right? And so that's one thing I know that I failed at this past year, and it seems like every year I'm going to have something about, you know, the last year I didn't do this well. And with that, last year I believe it was last year, I can't remember now because the years seem to be colliding together. I've got these behind me. These are the biostimulants behind me just as a prop that one year, if it wasn't last year, it was the year before, I said the first 2 years I got into lawn care, guys, I really didn't know much about it. I'm thinking, okay, these magic juices, you know, this microgreen, this RGS, this humic acid. I hear this guy Pete from North Carolina, he's using it with his lawn care company. He's using it in his own yard. It must be, there's something to that, using that to really help the lawn really pop. And so for the first 2 years, I was using those biostimulants regularly. You guys see it in my past history. In the beginning of this channel, I was doing RGS sprays, humic acid sprays, air rate. We tested dethatch in a way, not really effectively, but we tried to test it the best we could. We're doing CK. We're doing all these biostimulants, microgreen with the iron, and then we would mix that with Green Effect many times. And we're pumping lots of iron into the lawn to where it's almost laughable on the grass factor and things of that nature. But it comes out of learning. This is my lawn and this is how I'm learning, okay, the do's and don'ts. Last year, you know, budget reasons, plus, you know, inflation, the cost of everything going up, I cut back on a lot of the biostimulants. The only thing I did was I finished off my CK. I think I finished off the bottle of RGS I did at the beginning of seeding, and that's pretty much it. We didn't really pump any of the biostimulants in the lawn. And so what does that have to do to a soil test? We'll tie it in a second, but on that topic, guys, the lawn still looked great, and you guys saw it. You can go back in my past history, and we talked about it, I think, at the beginning of last year. I said, hey, this year I'm going to do an experiment. I'm not going to use as many biostimulants. Let's see, does the lawn visually, now we know under the soil, under the surface in the soil, that the biostimulants, that's where you're seeing a difference maker. The nutrients, the uptake, all that good stuff, it's soil based. It's not on the surface level, but at least surface level visually, the lawn looked just as good last year as it did the previous 2 years. I would argue maybe not as good as the Cool Blue year. There was something, I don't know, I still to this day stand that GCI Cool Blue, that Kentucky Bluegrass mixed in with that fescue, that year when I was striping, man, it was some flaming fire stripes on that that just looked like I don't think I've ever been able to replicate what that Cool Blue did in my lawn. I still stand by, that is the best grass seed. It takes a lot more water, it takes a lot more maintenance that I can't provide. But I believe, and I was using biostimulants that year, so maybe that helped a little bit. I was using different fertilizers as well. That could have made a difference. But all of this to say, it doesn't take biostimulants to have a nice lawn, but we need to be soil testing to know what does our lawn need this year. So I would encourage you, especially going into this spring, that we need to do some soil testing. Where's my pH? Am I in a good place to go this year? Do I need to worry about lime? That's something we can do in spring. I was talking to someone in the comment section that said, hey, I've got this big plan to do my fescue seeding in the spring. And we've talked about that as well here on the channel, that's not necessarily recommended. You can do whatever you want in your lawn. God gave us free will to do whatever we want on this earth, right? And your lawn is your lawn. My recommendation is, I saw it here on my neighbors before they moved. They did that in the spring. They planted, the grass came up, it looked great. In March, they did their dad worked for some lawn care company. He came, planted in the spring, it came up. But when the summer finally hit around April, May, that grass began to brown up and die out. Why? Because the roots that they planted was not able to get fully established. They never watered it. It just sat there and the sun scorched it, and most of it died out. You can't even tell they ever planted grass back there now at all, and it's been about 2 years ago. But it's because we plant in the fall so the roots can be established, so when spring comes, we've got all the time that we can manage. When we plant in the fall, we're just coming out of summer. So we're taking full advantage of all the months for our fescue grass to grow those deep roots, as deep as we can get them. We're pushing them with biostimulants, some people not. We're watering, we're trying to get the roots to grow and establish, and we're mowing and we're making it thicken up, and spring is helping to thicken up the roots and grow. And so when we get to summer, we can survive. That's the ultimate goal. So we don't necessarily, visually, it didn't make a difference not putting biostimulants down all last year. I saved a lot of money. I put efforts into golf. I talked about how I was trying to get back in golf, and visually the lawn looked just as great. Maybe it made a little bit of a difference, but I really couldn't tell. You don't have to have biostimulants to have a nice looking lawn. But I believe that we can cherry pick, for lack of better words, like when we're having stressful period, going into summer, can we buy a bottle of $50 CK and stretch that out during those months? I think that is wise. I think you're giving the lawn the best effort to survive, if you're like me in North Carolina, to survive. That sea kelp, those humic properties. We're not going to get into does humic really work or not. Pete buys it by, you know, the tons or the gallons or whatever. Some people say it's a complete scam. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I didn't go to school for it. I don't feel I'm qualified to tell you that answer. You will have to make that up for yourself as the consumer. You got one guy that fully believes in it in his lawn care company, and one guy and other people that don't. So that's up to you to decide. I've used them. And that's where a soil test is best going to tell you where's your lawn at and how. And I'm learning in this as well, guys. As I get the results of my soil test, I can't always break it down and know exactly what I need to do. But visually, you know, if I'm like, man, something ain't right, definitely you go to the doctor. You do a soil test. What is the dirt telling me? So we'll cut it off there. I'm hoping to improve in my soil testing this year to see if I need to use some biostimulants. I'm going to kind of play it by ear with the biostimulants myself. So I hope this has been entertaining. I hope this has been a conversation that is helpful, maybe to new people. Maybe if you've been around the channel, you're like, Mr. Ferguson, we've heard this. Well, we got newcomers, we got new people with new lawns going into spring for the first time, as I mentioned last video. So we want to cover these topics, and if you got questions, again, drop a comment down low. If I don't get to it, we've got a great people on this channel, a great community that would love to have a conversation, and I would love for you guys to talk among yourselves, like, hey, what do you think about this or that? And so leave your comment below. Thank you so much for tuning in on this chilly Saturday morning, filming this for Monday. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Thank you so much. Like the video if you did, share it if you want to. We'll see you hopefully on Friday with another lawn care video. Check out the Mr. Ferguson vlog on Wednesday for the midweek quickie. Hopefully I'll be able to post that. God bless you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next time.